Well, welcome to the Top Gun Show, where I try to bring you new providers, new technologies, and introduce you to the best professionals in the industry, all so you can make informed decisions. I'd like to welcome back my good friends at Granite Telecommunications, the sponsor of the Top Gun Show. In recent meetings with Granite, I've learned about some incredible wins that they've had recently in areas you might not be familiar with in their service portfolio. So rather than simply list the breadth of services offered by Granite, this month we'll be hearing several success stories. My hope is that you'll realize that Granite is the premier telecommunications service provider and that you are likely walking by some incredible opportunities for Granite each and every day. Today I'd like to welcome Rob Maziarz, Senior Channel Client Development Manager for Granite. Based in Boston, Rob has spent over 10 years at Granite. He has worked his way up the ladder, serving in various account management, relationship development, and business development roles. Rob, you made it. You're on the Top Gun Show.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm going to call you Maz, okay? Rob Maz, is that all right?
That works. Perfect.
That's what you go by, so I'm going to do that. Well, I understand you're going to be talking about a recent win in the area of selling the full stack of services for Granite. What types of service or services were sold in this success story you're going to be talking about?
Yeah, for this particular deal, Granite, we deployed about 1,000 locations of full stack SD-WAN. So switching, routing, wireless access points. We also coupled that with primary broadband circuit, or DIA, and a wireless connection for backup. On top of that, we did a UCaaS solution with eFax, some SIP trunking for their contact center, and then Microsoft Teams for the corporate employees. And then we bundled all that together with our managed field services. So we went out, actually deployed the services, installed them, made sure they were good, and then continued the lifecycle management of those devices. So as things broke in the field, we went out and dispatched our technicians to repair things to keep the business up and running.
Wow, that's an incredible success story. I mean, you checked a ton of boxes on that opportunity. How did that opportunity come your way in the first place? Did they come and say, I want all this stuff, or did they come in for one or two things? Tell me about that.
Well, I wish I could say it was easy, but it wasn't. Myself and the partner, we were professionally persistent with the CIO and CFO, let them know our full capabilities, but they were kind of hindered by a large ETF, a 7-figure ETF with their incumbent carrier that they didn't really like. So they had Granite in their back pocket. And then one day I got a call from the CIO basically saying that there was 9 sites that they just kept going down. Didn't have a redundant connection at those locations and needed help. There were 9 high revenue generating stores and they just needed someone's help to get those done. So that was kind of the impetus of really being able to start the relationship with Granite.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what was the sales process like in this situation? I'm sure you had to kind of, if there was ETF and all that, you probably had to layer this whole thing in. What was the process?
Yeah, we had an interface with multiple different decision makers from the IT space and from finance, but we did complete those 9 locations for them. They were very happy with what we did, but that ETF was still looming over their head. They wanted to move forward with Granite, but they didn't find a way to get past that ETF. So Granite provided basically a funding capital to fund that ETF and then amortize the cost back from the customer over the first year of the initial contracts.
Well, that's incredible. I mean, that's another great benefit of doing business with Granite is you guys are almost $2 billion in recurring revenue with no debt. So you're one of the few providers that can actually do that, absorb the cost of an ETF and roll it over the term, right?
Exactly. And we kept the customer's MRCs the same from what they were paying with the incumbent provider. And then after that, they paid the Granite back the initial ETF. Their costs went down by 48% month over month. So the ROI was there, and we made it easier for them to move away from a carrier they didn't like and use a solution with Granite that they did like and do it as fast as possible.
That's a pretty good sized deal. What's the MRR on something like that?
It's right around 850,000 monthly.
Holy cow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And it's a win-win-win for everybody. Fantastic. So what are some simple things? I know this was a complex sale, but what are some simple things a sales partner can ask their client to uncover opportunities like this and bring it to you guys early and often?
I think partners, they need to get a better understanding of what the customer has holistically. So really identifying what their current network setup is, what their business goals are, and really figure out how they deploy new locations, how they support existing locations. Once you know all that, then you can really figure out a good solution-based selling approach and figure out what gaps you could potentially fit with the vendors you have at your disposal.
Yeah, that's good. You bring up a good point. Solution-based selling. I mean, it sounds kind of trite, but how many sales partners out there, the phone rings and they say, hey, I need circuits to this location, or I need SD-WAN to these 9 locations. And they don't ask why. They go, okay, I'll get you a price, you know? So the whole solution-based thing, I know Granite, that's one of your claims to fame and how you built the whole company, how Rob Hale built the whole company, was doing solution selling. I mean, it's from the early days on, and it continues to this day. It's like, well, what does the customer need and how can we get it to them? It's amazing.
Yes.
So, you know, my hope is that sales partners and sales agents watching this will use this story to create a similar win for themselves and for Granite. Rob, thank you for carving out time out of your busy schedule to be on the Top Gun Show today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me. Anytime.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody.